Oh, I'm so excited. This spread is unbelievable. How romantic with all the fondue.
Thank goodness I haven't eaten all day. That's all I have to say. I'm going to make up for it right now.
So we have the savory and then we have the chocolate. So let's start with the savory.
Oh, and we also have this wonderful cheese.
Oh, yeah. Look at that
Very
cheese.
European with cheese. All right, go ahead. You start.
Well, I see there's some roasted Brussels sprouts. So I'm going to dip that in the cheese. Oh, look at that. Ooh, you can see the heat coming from that. Wait, I got to do another dip.
That's good for you. You get in your milk product.
There you go. Vitamin D or something.
Yes, what do we have over here? Oh, I'm going to try broccoli. Because broccoli is very good for you. Oh, that's a big piece. I'm not sure. We'll just nibble on this one. Just a little piece.
That was delicious. Now I'm going to try this.
I love the cheese. I have to find out what kind of cheese that is. I could do that at home. I could.
Going to get creative. It's romantic. It's Valentine.
I know. Can you imagine just the two of you with champagne and
will you come over here to the
or you can come here to the
Lodge?
Fairmont at the lodge.
Then it's all done for you.
It's all done for you, and there's no cleanup.
There's no cleanup,
I love
and
it.
it's romantic. It's a wonderful way to spend Valentine's, or even come out before Valentine's.
All right, I know that you're on the vegetables, but this chocolate is just more than I can resist. So I'm going to have it. I'm going to have it with a banana. And I'm going to cool myself, and then I'm getting potassium. That's why I'm eating this. It's like putting a mini ice cream sundae. I love it. What else do we have here? Oh, my favorite blue cheese. Let me see. I'm not sure. I have a knife here. I'll get one later. Oh, there is one. In my napkin. Perfect. What's my favorite? Oh, look at all of them. They've done a fabulous
There's
job.
crackers, and there's cheese, and there's meats.
And there's this, I don't know what I call
Blackberry.
this, but there's this one little thing that I love. An all cheese tray. It's
Of course, the breads.
You know, when I travel in Europe, this is what I have for dinner. I have a cheese board and I have a glass of champagne. And here I can just come, I don't have to go to Europe. Of course, I love going to Europe, but yeah, I can come to the Fairmont.
You come to the Fairmont, to the Lodge, and you have it all.
I do have it all.
You have a savory, you have a sweet. Well, I'm ready to try chocolate.
Okay.
So it looks like we have some brownie and
And the brownie looks wonderful.
this looks good too. Look at that. I'm going to dip that in the hot chocolate, swirl it around.
I'm telling you, mine tasted
Ooh,
like
can you
chocolate
see the
sundae.
dripping of that chocolate? Yeah. How decadent. I mean, it's just one deliciousness after the next. I love the candles, the roses, and of course, champagne. Isn't this cute? I just love this topper on here. It makes it really special.
It does. I love it. Well, I love everything. And I love this room. And I love how they created it, made it look like we're in a honey lodge or a ski lodge.
Right, like we're in Aspen, in Chicago.
Instead of me having to go down the bunny slope. I've never gotten off of it.
How romantic.
It is.
Well, cheers to February. We're kicking off the month of love, and I invite you to come to the Fairmont Lodge here in Chicago and do the same. Cheers.
And there's more to come tonight. So don't miss our readings to actually get you into a more romantic mood for this coming few weeks. Because Valentine's Day It's only part of the month. I think February should all be about love.
Absolutely.
And we're here to help you do that. Stay tuned.
Wow, this is amazing. These are house-made marshmallows.
Have you ever seen a marshmallow like this?
It's a big marshmallow.
It's a big one.
It's amazing.
I don't know whether we should make 2 or just 1.
So we're making s'mores.
We are.
Oh, the deliciousness is going to be unbelievable. So I think we are all.
Oh, okay.
This chocolate.
So forget about my pledge to go on a diet.
Yes,
in
it's
January.
Valentine.
Oh, wait a minute. January's done. January's done. It's February.
It's February.
And doesn't this
time to indulge.
Doesn't this remind you of campfires? When
Who
you
would
were
think?
like young and
Now, how romantic is this? I love that the Fairmont Lodge has this. I mean, you can come here and make your own s'mores.
and feed it to your loved ones.
Ooh. Look at that! I'm already getting cooked.
Oh, that's nicely roasted. Good job.
Yes.
And I love these individual little warming things. I'd love to have something like this at home. But I don't have to. I can come
You
here.
just come here. See, you don't have to do all that work, preparation. You just come here. They've done it all. It's nice and easy.
Toasty.
Oh yeah. I'm getting mine golden.
And I'm wondering if here at the Fairmont, when they make their homemade, they take all the calories out. Would that be nice? I hope so.
Well, I think this. Are you
Okay.
Is your marshmallow hitting my marshmallow? Hello. Cheers.
Okay, now we take the cracker
Now we're gonna take the cracker.
and we're gonna squish
It's a
it.
graham cracker. So you just put the graham cracker on your plate,
Just
or,
like we
or
make
just
s'mores.
like that, and then you get your chocolate,
And
then
we
you
put it
the
on the
marshmallow.
Woo! Look at this. Okay, that's a s'more, and
That's
I'm
a
gonna
s'more.
auction this s'more off. I'm thinking this.
Oh, I have to take a bite.
I think you should have this, Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew.
Andrew,
Sorry, babe.
our friends who are here who are engaged. Yes. They're friends of Dare to Be Curious, and what a romantic place to be tonight.
We are so happy to be here. We
Good.
have our date now too, so
Yeah.
This is date night.
It's date
Date
night.
night. Date night.
Exactly.
Nice.
At the lodge.
What better place to be?
Exactly. Romantic.
I love it. It is. So enjoy that s'more.
Cheers.
Okay.
Cheers. Well, hello and welcome. Thank you for coming out. I know it's it's cold out there. For those of you viewing this later, it's actually blizzarding outside. We have snow falling here in Chicago. So thank you for coming out, but it will be hot and steamy in here tonight. So we are excited to be kicking off February, the month of love. And what better way to do it than reading romance novels to get you in the mood? So we have Talk of the Town, and you'll recognize some of your favorite places here in Chicago. This was written by Sherrill Bodine. We will be reading from this evening, and then we're going to read from another book, and then we're going to open it up for any questions, and then we will be having a book signing at the very end. My name's Debbie Catenacci, and I am with Dare to Be Curious, and I'm here with my co-host,
Sherrill Bodine. And yes, we are going to read some sexy things, but we have edited it a little bit because we are on YouTube. You know, they don't allow everything. And actually, we're here at the beautiful Fairmont Hotel in Chicago, who have wonderful things planned for Valentine's weekend. So they've asked us to start it off with a little romance, because February is all about romance, isn't it?
Yes.
It should be just one day.
No.
Gentlemen in the audience, not one day, right?
It's not one day. It's
Yeah,
every day.
we have to have romance every day of our lives. Because love is in the air every day of our lives. So
Yeah,
we need to
that's
do
right.
it. But February might be just a little bit special. Now, Talk of the Town was my first book for Warner Books. It was bought in the middle of my contract, of course, by Grand Central. And they did a great job. And this was picked up by Cosmopolitan magazine, and it was their red hot read. And if you guys want to know a little bit about publishing, I'm thrilled. Cosmopolitan, they're going to be doing this 2 pages of my book. So they took 2 scenes and they rewrote them. It sounded nothing like the book. If I had read those 2 pages, I would have bought the book, and I wrote it. That's how bad it was. And my agent, or my editor called me and said, you know, Cosmopolitan really wants to know how you feel about the piece they did. And of course she knew it was awful. And I knew it was awful. Yeah, it was awful. I mean, truly awful. I have a copy of the magazine if anybody wants it. And I said, please tell Cosmopolitan that I'm thrilled with their support of the book. And the editor said, oh God, thank goodness you said that, because we all said, oh Sherrill, we get it. It was a thrill to be a Cosmopolitan.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you know, I know many of you out there are interested in publishing, and it is a tough game, but never surrender. And this was a book dear to my heart because it's all about Chicago.
I love that.
And it's all about a dear friend, Ann Gerber, who was Chicago's gossip queen. You guys all remember Ann Gerber? Give a cheer for Ann. Thank you. And in this book, the heroine, who was the queen of gossip, gets demoted to writing a food column.
Oh.
And she turns that into a gossip column, which becomes the talk of the town.
Wow.
Yeah, and of course ends up with the World of the magazine. I mean, you know.
So tell
It's
us
a
about
romance
the
story.
love interests, these characters. Who are we going to be reading about this evening, Sherrill?
Well, it's, you know, you all out in the audience, you know, I always write about real people, but I change their names to protect the guilty, because the innocent don't need protecting. So some people in the audience might actually, it's true, the guilty don't, you know. You might recognize some people, but I think that you were going to start the reading, weren't you?
All right, I'm going to start us off.
She's going to start us with something a little not as racy, so we can just kind of get into the mood a little bit.
Yeah, something a little tame.
A little tame.
And what are the names of the characters that we have?
Our heroine is Rebecca Covington, which happens to be a name that Ann Gerber, who I did dedicate this book, because I really could not have written it without her. That was a name that she used to use as a pseudonym when she wrote a gossip column that nobody knew about.
Ooh,
Yeah.
more secrets are coming
More
out.
secrets,
I love
lots
this.
of secrets. Okay.
Okay, so here we go. What's the
David.
David. Oh, okay. The phone rang and her heart pounding, she answered it. Mr. Summer to see you, Ms. Covington. Her doorman, Malcolm, announced. Please send him up, thanks. She just had time to put the whipped cream back in the refrigerator and light the candles on the table before her doorbell rang. It feels like my heart jumped into my throat. Stop, I'm not afraid of anything. To prove it, she opened the door on David's first ring. He didn't look quite as much like Pierce as he had first glance across Alan's dance floor, but he possessed enough movie star looks to make any healthy woman's pulse flutter. Even if he is the enemy. Hello, David. Feeling breathless again, she ushered him into the tiny mirror-lined foyer. Hello, Rebecca. His mouth curling in his slow, sexy smile. He handed her a large bouquet of pink roses in various stages of bloom and a bottle of chilled Cristal champagne.
Good move. That was a good one.
The dimple dented his cheek as he removed the white linen handkerchief from his breast pocket. May I? He asked and touched her cheek. Dessert, I presume. His touch sent hot shivers along her skin. She was surprised the chilled champagne bottles she clasped didn't start sizzling. Catching sight of her flushed face reflecting again and again in the mirrors, she tried to regain control. Yes, dessert. She twirled away. Make yourself comfortable on the terrace. I'll bring you a drink. Stop trembling. Put roses in the water, fix his scotch on the rocks, open the champagne, pour into a glass, place the drinks on the tray like a robot. She went through the motions of a good hostess while wrapping her mind around the fact she definitely felt something real when David wiped whipped cream off her cheek. Pulling herself up to her full height, she held the tray carefully in front of her and marched out of the kitchen. David had followed orders, retreated to the narrow terrace. When he saw her, he took the tray and placed it on the small iron glass table next to the large pot of golden mums. He handed her the champagne flute and held up his scotch. I'm impressed. You know my drink. Their eyes connected, and Rebecca felt lightheaded again.
Oh God, sometimes I don't remember. after
what's going on here, Sherrill?
Okay, yeah, well, oh dear. This is classic romance, you could be almost enemies. But he has a backstory, which is very important when you write a novel. You've got to know who the characters are, what their wounds are. David has a wound, and so does Rebecca. And discovering that in one another and being the thing that saves one another. That's what every romance novel is about.
So they're each other's hero. Perhaps we gotta get the book and read it to find that out, right? Yes.
Things do progress.
Oh, all right. We're moving on to a little bit of steamy.
Just a little
scene.
bit, and I did have to edit this.
Censored version.
I did not choose the most graphic scene of the book because, this is for adults, okay? So anyway, here they are. This isn't, maybe one of the next times in her apartment. Finally, the doorbell rang. She flung the door open and pulled David inside. That's a little different than the first one, right? They were in each other's arms, kissing deeply, desperately. I love kissing you, he murmured against her lips, and he swept her up in his arms. She wrapped her arms around his neck. Oh, I shouldn't have used arms twice there. Anyway, all right. She wrapped her arms around his neck, rubbing her breast against his chest, and returned the compliment by caressing his sensual mouth with her tongue. As they moved to the living room and into the bedroom, their kisses grew deeper and hotter. Reaching the bed, he lowered her bare feet to the floor. All right. His long, should I really read this? His long fingers struck her neck and made light circles across her breast just above the sweetheart neckline of her dress. In her head, she was Becky again, free to go wherever she wanted. Being with David reminded her that once Rebecca had been spontaneous and a little wild. You first, she demanded back. His eyes never left her face as he did a slow striptease, unbuttoning his shirt, shrugging it off, and tossing it toward a chair. She ached to stroke his taut stomach, to press slow, wet kisses on his warm skin. Now it's your turn, Becky. No fair, I only have one piece of clothing. No underwear again? Dimple deepened in his cheek. You'll see, she teased. Slowly she pulled down the zipper, and with one shrug of her shoulders, the exorbitantly expensive designer dress slid down her body to pool like a lagoon around her ankles. His eyes roamed over her might as well be naked designer underwear. Nice, I approve. Grinning, he held her hand to steady her as she stepped free of the dress and flung it across the end of the bed. It had been too long since she'd had this much fun. Too long since she wanted to be with someone so completely. Had she ever felt this way before? You again, David. Quickly he undid his black alligator belt and pulled his trousers down, kicking off his loafers. He was now barefoot too. looking at his wife breathe, barely containing his tall erection, she realized how lucky women were to be able to hide the fire burning between their thighs.
Oh my.
He lifted one eyebrow. Next, she snapped open her bra and peeled off her warm body. He reached forward. She gently pushed his hands away. She wanted those fingers stroking her aching breast, but she was already giddy with anticipation. She wanted it to build higher. No cheating. Keep going. He groaned, Becky, there's only so much a man can take, especially at my age. She smiled lazily at him. You're on your parlors. You're not so old you can't tough this out. You're almost there. He slid off his briefs and kicked them under the beds. His body was as beautiful as she remembered. Like before, he couldn't hide how much he wanted her. She needed to show him how much she wanted him. Without words, she slid the last wisp of silk off her body and knelt in front of him. I'm stopping right there.
Well, I think it is getting hot and steamy in here tonight, right?
It is a little bit, but this, what was really fun about this book is that they were older. When I sold it to New York, actually, Rebecca was 49, and David was actually 52. And the young editor that called me after they bought it said, oh, I love David. I wish he would be perfect for my mom, but could he be, do you want him to be younger? She said, oh, could he be? I said, yeah, since I'm making it up, he can be whatever I want. So she said, I said, would you like him to be 49? She said, oh, could he be? I said, yes. And I said, what about Rebecca? Could she be like 45? She said, oh my gosh, could she be? I said, yes. So this was a little bit unusual for New York because they weren't 20s. So it was a mature second chance at love sort of thing. He was a widow, she had a nasty divorce, some really painful things, and they were able to come together.
Oh, I love that.
And that's
Second
why,
chance.
after that happened, I said, I'm going to have them have really great sex because that's an important lesson for you young people out there. That, you know, after 50, there's a lot of life left. A lot. Actually, I think it gets better.
Well, there you go.
There you go. That's my lesson today for all of you. Under 50s in the audience. Now tell me, after a scene like that, and whatever might have happened in that scene, they probably both went to bed and had a good night's sleep.
You have to get the book and find out.
What kind of biscotti would they have? With a glass of champagne?
I like that. So how could we have a biscotti? So, you know, with Divine Biscotti, love is wrapped in each enchanting bite of the gourmet biscotti. So love is here, Cupid is here, it's in the air, and I'm thinking about rum-soaked raisin biscotti with rum glaze and almond sprinkles. So what is amazingly delicious with raisins? Rum. The name of this dolce biscotti zigzags like a tongue twister before you've had any rum. This is the grown-up way of updating your sweet tooth.
Wow.
So you can get that recipe on page 55 of Divine Biscotti.
Will you make it for us since we can't cook? We'll order that when we know we have a hot day.
Well, there you go. So tell us about the next book. We're going to read All I Want Is You. Boy, that, don't you just want to hear that from your lover or your fantasy dream would have someone say, all I want is you. So tell us about this book.
Well, this is the third in my Chicago trilogy. The other was A Black Tie Affair. I have it around the table, which was a fun book, but I decided I was not going to read from all three of them. But Rebecca and David are throughout the books, but I have to tell you that some people have told me this is the best book I've ever written.
Oh.
I'm not sure it's true because I love, the newest one is always my best one. The newest one is always my favorite. But this is pretty good. And people who live in Chicago, they'll recognize a few
more places in Chicago.
A few more bodies. Yes, they will.
So what's
really
going on in this book? Who are our main
my
characters
goodness.
and what's the story? Give us a little bit of a
This
tease
is the
here.
clay work. It's actually, you recognize, I recreate the great old Marshall Fields.
Oh, I love Marshall
I mean,
Fields.
it's
Those
all its
classic
glory, I know.
Chicago.
And it's the
The
Clayworth
Hunter
family.
Green bags. Oh.
The Clayworth brothers and two sisters. You meet the first sister in Black Tie Affair, and in this one it's Venus. Venus, because her father is a expert on goddesses.
Oh.
So all the daughters are
Goddesses.
named after a goddess.
Wow.
Yes. And this is another one of, gosh, that seems to be a theme for me. Enemies into lovers. But it wasn't
So,
enemies. It was
enemies, there's a
misunderstanding.
little.
They're not really enemies. Anybody that reads a romance novel knows it's just misunderstanding, miscommunication.
Right, so you have this tension going on between our characters.
Because if there's no conflict, there's no story.
Oh,
So it's gotta be
so yeah. And remember that for the writers out there, you need that conflict in the
There's
story.
no story. I mean, if they're together, they're happy. Hey, who cares? It's when they break up and they have to get back together. That's what everybody wants to read about.
Oh, okay. Well, should I read a little bit?
Just a teeny bit. I don't want to bore our audience because we had to kind of go a little tame tonight.
Tame.
Tame.
Yeah, we're just starting out. I mean, it's the beginning of February, so
That's right.
we're just starting with the romance. So here we go. She poured a generous amount of Joe Malone pomegranate noir bath oil into the rushing hot water and breathed in the intoxicating fragrance. Sure, this would work to lure her to sleep. She pinned her hair on top of her head, shrugged out of her nightgown, and stepped into the deep tub. Sighing, she laid back, allowing the hot water to soothe her jangled nerves. Just as she hoped, at last she began to feel the tiniest bit sleepy and closed her eyes. In a few more minutes, I'll get out and sleep like a baby. An explosion of barking shocked her eyes open. She sat up and heard the clinking of the pug's tiny paws on the wood floor beneath the bedroom windows and the new fire's galloping thumps. New feet. Atlas gave two more deep, loud woofs. Atlas, be quiet before you wake up Connor, she called through the open bathroom door. The pug broke into short staccato yelps loud enough to wake the dead. Oh no, Venus groaned, standing up, reaching for a towel. Venus, are you all right? Connor shouted, bursting half-dressed into her bedroom. Through the open bathroom door, their eyes met. Every cell in her body went numb, stark and naked. She couldn't move, couldn't look away from the shifting emotions in his emerald eyes. Without words, he slowly pulled the bathroom door closed. Only then did reaction sting her to life. Shivering, she sank back down into the hot water. The warmth, the fragrance, steam rising around her, and her own overheated emotions made her feel lightheaded. Taking deep breaths, she gripped the side of the tub to keep from fainting for the first time in her life. She shook her head, trying to clear away the image of Connor gazing at her in a way that she swore made her heart skip a beat. She laid her head against the edge of the tub, closed her eyes. Burning hot tears stung her skin as the truth settled into her heart and soul. If it had been any other man on the planet, I'd be forever grateful to have looked into his eyes and had my aha, here he is at last moment. Sobbing, more tears steaming down her scalding cheeks, she wrapped her arms around her bent knees and rocked herself. I know Connor is the one, just as I know I can't ever have him.
Oh my God, don't you love those romance novels? Well, we're not going to read any more from this. You're going to have to find out what happens because they have it's a great book. It's a great book. But now I think we need to.
You're not going to read?
No, I'm not.
You're not
because I
gonna-
think I blush quite enough for this. And, it's funny that so different reading it.
Reading it out loud, then
Yes.
like if you buy the book and you put on the fire at home and you have your champagne and you're just reading and you're visualizing in your own mind, it's a little different than reading it out
Well,
loud.
you could be though in a beautiful room here at the Fairmont because they do have a wonderful Valentine's weekend, and you could be reading to one another.
You could read to one
and then you
another.
could enact it if you want to try to
Well,
do
we
that.
have the chocolate fondue, the dessert, and then we have the cheese fondue, and then we have the s'mores. So you could roast your own s'mores
In the
your
champagne,
room,
in the
or
champagne. It's all
while
good.
you're reading the book.
But there's nothing romantic. There's nothing more romantic than being with who you love on Valentine's Day, or any day, of course, any day. But it's sort of special. I know it's commercial, but we've all gotten into it.
We've all gotten into it. Well, should I share the next
I think
biscotti?
let's see what biscottis after we've been reading to each other in our room. We'll have a Debbie biscotti.
Well, there you go. The Divine Biscotti. Let's see. We have the triple chocolate biscotti with pistachio sprinkles. This was created for the true lover of chocolate who longs for the taste, who salivates when the aroma is in the air. Artistry in these gourmet triple chocolate biscotti will seduce your friends' taste buds as they indulge in the delights of a chocolate lover's fantasy. And that is on page 154 of Divine Biscotti.
They are going to have a chocolate fantasy here
Yes.
at the Fairmont.
Absolutely.
February the 11th and 12th, and on the 14th. They're usually not open on Mondays, but hey, it's Valentine's.
But it's Valentine's Day, so they're going to make an exception.
They are, and I do want to quickly, before we open up for questions, you out there who want to be writers, never surrender, because I wrote these books decades ago, and they got a new life with a new publisher after I got my rights back, and now, even though they've been on Amazon, the fact that they're on Target seems to excite everybody.
It is exciting.
The rights are Redemption, Scandal's Child, A Soldier's Heart, and The Duke's Deceit. And I think the reason they're up there is because of the great success of Bridgerton. And I'm sure many of you in the audience have watched Bridgerton. Yes, they're
So
cheering out there.
romantic.
And I think it's given Regencies a whole new life.
I think so too.
I do too. I'm very excited that it's given my Regencies a
Yes.
whole life. Thank you very much, Julia Quinn, who is the author of the Bridgerton series. Okay, now we're going to open it to questions from our audience. Can I take one? Yes. Yes. Please speak up, Andrew.
Yes, I would like to know who were some of your influences to become an author? Who did you read that brought you into the profession?
All right, the question is, what other authors did I read that brought me into writing? I think, honestly, writing, you're born being a writer. I think that, the imagination, like movies would run through my head. But actually, my first love of books was the Regency period. And it was actually the first book I wrote. And then I didn't know what to do with it. Finally, my agent sent it off to a very famous editor at Valentine, Fawcett. And she said, I like it, but she's unpublished. And then I did this other little mystery thing, and they picked that up. And my agent called Barbara Dix, and she said, oh, she's not unpublished anymore. She says, oh, great, because I want to give her a 2-book contract. Woo! So, yeah, it was, it's like, oh, yeah, my God, overnight success, you sold 3 books in a day. Now, after like 7 years of working on it, this
Writing,
ever.
getting up and writing.
Yeah, 1 million words, they say first. I just always liked to read. I've always been curious about the world, and I love books. And you guys probably don't remember, it was Mistress of Merlin. I think it was before some of you were born, but it was like a Gothic novel. You guys probably don't remember Gothic novels, but I just read everything. I didn't read anything. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, Lauren.
This is a question either for Debbie or Sherrill. First of all, we are so happy to be here in the snow, and it's just, you guys are just so sexy and dreamy and Valentine-y. Oh, it's true.
Thank you.
And we love being here in the Fairmont. It seems like a very perfect collaboration between the biscotti and the romance in this beautiful place. How did you guys come about getting this great collaboration at the Fairmont? And will we be coming here again and again to hear more about your blog and daring to be curious?
Well, we hope so. They came and,
Well, it all started with Aspen in Chicago.
that's right. We filmed it. I think many of you saw it on YouTube.
It was great.
And
So
it was
the
great fun.
Fairmont remodeled all of this. So this is new.
It is.
It's
And
just
they
beautiful.
saw that, and their PR people said, why don't you do something with your books and promote our Valentines? Because what is more in tune with a romantic weekend away than romance novels?
novels. It gets you in the mood for Valentine's.
I'm always in the mood for Valentine's.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
that's what happens when you write
When
romance
you write-
novels.
right,
That's
exactly.
right. So yes, we hope that there'll be more partnerships with the Fairmont because it's a wonderful place. The lodge is so cozy, particularly cozy on a wintry night in Chicago.
I love the fondue. The fondue is fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
cheese or chocolate.
Any more questions? Yes, Denise.
So what can people expect when they come here for the Valentine's weekend or Valentine's Day? Is it a dinner? Are they staying in the rooms? Is it a champagne brunch?
Denise is asking, what can you expect at the Fairmont? Well, a wonderful time, of course.
Of course.
Of course.
That's a given.
They're having a special special weekend on February 11th and 12th, which includes a chocolate experience, which you are having a tiny bit tonight. I have to tell you, our guests are having chocolate fondue, and then they're making s'mores. You all remember s'mores from when we were kids.
Oh yeah, you just.
Oh, yeah, I
And,
just
and
made
those
them.
are in-house
They are.
made. Those marshmallows.
They
They're
are delicious.
absolutely delicious.
And, yeah, and no calories. Of course, they take all the calories out here. at the
We don't
Fairmont.
count calories during Valentine's, day or leading up to
They
it.
will all have to go to a health spa in March. and
Yeah,
that's
there you
the
go.
case. There you go. No, they have some wonderful things planned, and all you have to do is call the Fairmont Chicago, and they will tell you. But great special champagne and all sorts of romantic things, flowers, because we all love to get roses.
Roses.
Right. Very special here at the Fairmont. Thank you. Yes, we have another question. Thank you.
Do you have the book in your head before you sit to start writing? Or you start and then you keep changing while you are writing?
The question is, do I have the book in my head before I start writing? That is an excellent question. I always know the story. I always know the beginning. And I always know the end, but it's the dreaded middle that is the problem.
How are you going to get there?
Well, that's the story. The one book I have, and I'm not just promoting this because these books just have a new life to them. Scandalous Child. It was the only book in my 19 books. I knew every word. I knew every emotion. I knew every scene. It was just the most amazing thing. And even my editor, which was, again, the legendary Barbara Dix, she changed 3 words. I mean, it was just shocking.
That
I
almost
just
that never happened.
Only happened
3
once.
words. Wow.
If it happened more often, I'd be on the New York Times bestseller and I would have 40 books under my belt. But no, it only happened once. It's writing is, I always say, I love having written, but writing is blood, sweat, and tears. It really is. But I always know the ending. And I always know the story arc of my protagonist. Although sometimes I've written books, like one of them I'm redoing and will be out. The secondary heroine was so interesting. She was more interesting than the heroine. And that just came about from the story developing, which is really interesting. And in fact, to that point, the Rake's Redemption, the brother in this book was so fascinating that I made him the hero of this book. And the same thing happened with The Soldier's Heart. the brother was so interesting, he had to have his own glow. Sometimes that happens with secondary characters. Thank you. A good question. Anything else? Oh, yes. Thank you.
Sherrill and Debi, you know, you have fabulous videos and Dare to Be Curious website. Where can fans find more videos?
Well, thank you for that. The question is, where can you find our videos? And that would be on YouTube. And our YouTube channel is Dare to Be Curious. And we try to upload every week, usually on Thursdays. And it's all about just bringing elegance back to your life and having positive energy and making things happen and manifesting your own dreams. We also have our weekly newsletter, which you can sign up for. We'll have a sign-up sheet actually here. And for those viewing this later, you can go to our website at biggest.life. And all you have to do is put in your name and your email address, and you'll receive our weekly blog through the weekly newsletter. And then just go to the YouTube channel, Dare to Be Curious.
Great question, thank you. We prompted her, that's why she said that. No, it's really been fun to do because some people helping it with us have done the analyticals, and we have a steady little group of people in Germany.
Yes.
I don't know 40 people in Germany, so these are
So
all
hello, hello in Germany from snowy Chicago.
I said, what? 40 people
We
in Germany?
see you. We see you
don't know.
guys popping up. Thank you.
They pop in and look at the blog and the website like every week or something, and it was really
Love it.
interesting. And I think that's the fun of it. The reach gets to be, you know, so interesting.
Well, it's unlimited possibilities. And that's the wonderful thing, that we can make new friends all over the world through the technology of YouTube and bring a little bit of Chicago to Germany or anywhere else.
Who knew? Who knew? And actually, I think we have some fans in China. And I didn't think they could get on the internet in China, but somehow, like 10 people in China are doing it, so it's fun.
Well, I think that has to do with our new year, the Year of the Tiger. We just posted that this week.
It is exciting.
February 1st.
Yeah, I'm a rooster, not so exciting as a tiger. There are some tigers in the audience, but you are a dragon.
Yes.
Here do you been? This has been delightful. Thank you for joining us for kind of a start to the romantic month of February. And keep the romance going, not only in February, but every
always,
day.
every day. We
Thank
all
you.
want love.
Thank you for coming to Dare to Be Curious, and we'll see you next week with more fun.
Thank you.